So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. Melissa and I are down at the cabin here today, and we're going to take the Can-Am for its longest journey by far. Probably going to be a 30 or 40 mile ride. I'm not even sure. We hit some rain on the way down.
We did.
It's hot, humid, but you know what? It's not as hot here as it is at home.
No, I think there's a difference here in this.
It's always about 10 degrees cooler, which is kind of weird because we're 2 hours south.
Right. But
just an elevation thing.
And these trees, I think.
Yeah.
We get out and we're instantly like talking softer to each other. The quietness here is hard to describe. I think we've said that since we've even...
You find yourself whispering.
...bought this property. Yeah. It's real reverent and quiet here.
Well, what do you think? You want to load some stuff up?
Yeah.
And
I've got the cooler. I'm going to grab my phone to take some pictures, and I'm excited. Yeah. It'll be a nice ride.
I know one thing. This thing handles these back roads way, way smoother than the F350.
Yeah, for sure.
Much more comfortable ride. Made a wrong turn, Melissa. Wanted to stop and show you a West Virginia guardrail right there. So we're about 15 miles into our journey here. Now that is steep. Look at that. That's as close to being a cliff without being a cliff.
It's pretty.
It starts to open up over here. I think we're about 5 miles from our destination, I think. You know, when I see stuff like this, I think to myself, what it would be like trying to get trees out of there.
This rock is like in the rhododendron.
Yeah. All right, we're pretty close to the town of Ralsburg now. It's been a nice ride so far. I think we're about a little over 20 miles from the cabin. We're gonna come down here to the railroad tracks, and we just came down a pretty good sized mountain, and then we're gonna head up on that other side over there. I think that'll take us up to that Cannon Hill. Hopefully the trail is open. Yeah, so this is part of the West Virginia Civil War trails. I mentioned once before, so there was a Battle of Ralsburg. You want to read any of that?
There you go.
Yeah, I showed them this before. Yeah, 1,500 Confederates attacked Ralsburg and tried to destroy 2 key bridge crossings of the Cheat Valley. Had they been successful, the link between the Army of the Potomac and the Volunteers of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois would have been cut off, perhaps for the duration of the war. Would have been good information to have. Open Saturday and Sunday, May 1st through August 31st, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Then September 1st through October 31st. The reason I'm telling you this is so I have a video to remember this with. Let's head down to the town of Ralsburg.
Okay.
All right, just got back. We did about 40 miles. Melissa, it looks like you're ready for a little naparoo. A napetizer.
It's that time of day.
It is that time of day.
Nap time.
Late.
Yeah, it was a good run. That's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm getting old and...
You're not old.
You know what? It's like when you take your little kids for a ride back in the day in their car seats and they fall asleep. That thing was just a perfect little ride.
Soothing.
Yeah, now I'm like, okay, I'm asleep.
Well, let's hike back in the woods there a little bit before we both fall asleep.
Okay.
And then we're going to head to town. We're going to get some ice cream. And then I think we're going to go to the fair tonight.
Yeah.
That's over in Garrett County, Maryland, which isn't far from here.
That's the plan.
Near Deep Creek. right, so Melissa and I got back from the cabin last night, and I've had a really good morning. I got some things organized. I got all my attachments where I can get to them quick and easy. I split a little bit of oak and hickory, and I got the Evo moved out of the way. I stacked up my logs over there to make some more room. Cleaned up that area right there because we're going to move the Evo down this way farther, because tomorrow I've got a tumbler coming, and it's going to be used to clean the firewood to remove the debris before it goes into the wood bunker. Should be really handy. It'll make a nicer product, a cleaner product. So we got all that going on, but man, I have really opened this up quite a bit. Plus, I was kind of crowded over that way towards the woodshed. The Evo will be sitting more down this way. I may have to, I think I'm going to have to find a different place to put a burn pit though, because I'm creeping the equipment a little too close to the burn pit. So that's something I better keep in mind. But anyway, Melissa and I had a wonderful little mini vacation. The other day we left here about 9 o'clock in the morning, headed to the cabin. We stopped at Bass Pro on the way down. Usually I stop on the way home. Well, actually I did that too. We stopped on the way back. But when we got to the cabin, we did a 40-mile ride on the Can-Am. And I'm telling you, that thing rides like a dream. It does. Super comfortable. Handles the bumps way better than the F350. But we went over to the town of Ralsburg. Again, this is the second time I've been there and have yet to achieve what I wanted to do. There's this hill up above the town. It's called Cannon Hill. And they call it that because during the Civil War, they had cannons up there. And there were a couple battles where the Confederates were trying to take over the town and blow up a couple railroad bridges over the Cheat River, because that was kind of like Lincoln's lifeline. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Cannon Hill is a beautiful view of the town. You know, it sits in the horseshoe of the Cheat River. In the fall, it's spectacular. And but I wanted to get down there this summer. I went down once before, and the trail going up to it wasn't open until like June. Okay, well, it's July, you know, end of July. So we went down today. Here it's only open on Saturdays and Sundays. So we couldn't get up there once again. But I'm going to do it before fall. We'll get up there. But anyway, after the trip, hiked around at the cabin for a bit and back in the woods, messed with a few trail cameras, and then we headed to town and we went to the Garrett County Fair, which is just above Deep Creek, Maryland. Our cabin is in West Virginia, but we're real close to the Maryland line. Oakland, Maryland, Deep Creek, Maryland. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Deep Creek Lake, it's a beautiful lake. It is. It's a man-made lake. As a matter of fact, this year they're celebrating their 100th anniversary. It was built in 1925, and the purpose of the lake was for a dam to generate electricity. And over the years, it turned into a beautiful tourist destination. And there's some really nice houses all around the lake. And it's kind of funny because you'll see people that have had like a little cottage probably since the 40s, you know, or the 50s. And right beside them will be like a $4 million house or something. And there are houses everywhere. It's a little crowded for me, you know, but there's trees everywhere. So even though the houses are kind of close together, there's still some privacy. But it's an amazing place. It really is. And I like, on a trip like that, like I said, we didn't do any work. We just screwed around. I like looking at things, you know, houses, looking at how people do things that may be differently than the way we do it. We went to a place and had a awesome sandwich. I've been there before. It's called Schrock Farms, and it's an Amish store, and they make a sandwich. I don't know how they make a sandwich, just a sandwich. that tastes that good. But Melissa thinks she has it figured out. The bread is homemade each day, but they put like meat, cheese, starting from the bottom to the top. Meat, cheese, and then like, you know, you pick whatever you want, but your lettuce and your onion and your pickle, then another layer of meat and cheese and this homemade bread. But we literally ate half the sandwich, and then that night had half the sandwich again for dinner. So we did that. But they have all this Amish furniture and stuff, and I just like looking at stuff, you know what I mean? It gets you ideas on how other people do things and kind of incorporate it into what you do, and it's pretty cool. It is. But Deep Creek is a really nice place. I was thinking it would be so difficult to do something like that today. Can you imagine that? I mean, it's a big lake. It goes all back in. It would be like flooding all of our property, and the water level would come up to, you know, back into all these valleys. There's, I think, close to 70 miles of shoreline around that lake, which is a lot of room to build houses, and they've been doing that for years. But like I said, there's still some privacy. It's not like there's a lot of traffic or anything like that, but it's nice where our cabin is, because it's like we are in the middle of nowhere, but you can drive 15-20 minutes to town, and you know, if you want to go out to a nice dinner or a movie or go to the lake or whatever, you can do all that from the cabin pretty easy. Plus there's a lot of like state parks, there's Swallow Falls, Cathedral Forest, then you can go down to like Blackwater Falls. That's not that far. It's just a great area. We really lucked out in finding that piece of property there. It's in Preston County, West Virginia, and I initially was not even looking in Preston County, but I'm glad that's what we found. You can get property in West Virginia a lot cheaper if you go way south, but for us, it's like a five-hour drive, where we can get to the cabin from here in about 2.5 hours. So it was a great little trip. It was. We don't rest much, you know what I mean? We're always doing something. I had somebody comment the other day. They said, why don't you ever just stop for a little bit and smell the roses? And I thought to myself, this is how I smell the roses. My roses are the aroma of the Woodyard. You know what I mean? All the wood. We like doing stuff, you know? And it may seem like you just do a lot of work, but like if it's what you enjoy doing, that's what we like to do. So we did take 2 days off though, which is pretty nice. But anyway, tomorrow we've got the tumbler coming for the Evo firewood processor, and that should work out pretty good. I think I mentioned we'll set that over in here somewhere. That'll give me a lot more room through here. And then what I'm thinking I'll do, you know, I got a giant log pile over here. You got to cut some of those logs down. So what I'll do, we'll prep the logs, set them down here where these slabs and stuff are. Be plenty wide through here just to run them down with the grapple. Can make a big pile right there. And then with the excavator, just put them right on the log deck of the Evo. Tumbler into the wood bunker or straight into the dump trailer. I'm just getting this the way that I want it, but this whole Woodyard here may not be long for this world. It might not be. Melissa and I have been talking. When you're on the road like we were for a couple days, it gives you a good chance to catch up on things and make plans and talk about things. And Melissa and I were both talking about possibly moving the entire Woodyard. I'm not sure where yet. We have some options. All of them are going to require some work, but I just need more room. I do. And we got some things in the works, so we might be doing that. Realistically, it wouldn't be until, I don't know when it would be. I need to go through all the wood that's down here before I move everything. So that means all the saw logs, all the firewood, And we're not going to move the finished product, like the firewood and stuff, until it's all sold. So we will kind of evolve into a new Woodyard. And Melissa had some good ideas on what we may do there. So that's all in the works. That is. I'm excited though. More room would be better. On these little cameras, I swear things look bigger than what they really are. It's cramped down here. My whole Woodyard, it's not even an acre. You know, it's probably 3/4 of an acre. You know, it's not a big area, and we are just crammed in here. Wherever we put the new Woodyard, though, I will have another pavilion like that one, but bigger. I love just the pavilion. I do. I kept saying to myself, I'm going to close parts of this in, but I like being able to get to all sides of it, and it keeps the rain off you, keeps the snow off you. You know, I got lumber stacked in there, firewood, but I need another pavilion. So if we were to do that, this one may just be for lumber storage, and I could put the equipment. I don't know. We'll have to figure it all out. So all that stuff's in the works. One more thing. It dropped 10 degrees in a half hour today, and I'm loving it. It's like 73 degrees right now. It's been hot, and it is beautiful right now. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will catch you on the next one.